If you had met me 20 years ago, back when I was 19 and trying to survive my sophomore year at the University of Georgia in Athens, you never would have guessed that one day I would become a single father raising twin daughters alone. And I certainly never would have guessed that the woman I had spent nearly half my life loving would eventually walk away from us. Not just me. Us. Because betrayal feels different when children are involved. It doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your understanding of the world. My name is Ethan Walker. I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, the son of a mechanic and a kindergarten teacher. We didn't have much money, but we had enough. My parents taught me the importance of honesty, responsibility, and showing up for the people you love. Those lessons stayed with me. And maybe that's why what happened years later hurt so much. Because I believed everyone else lived by those same rules. I met Emily Carter during my sophomore year. She was impossible to ignore. Long chestnut hair, bright green eyes, and the kind of smile that made you forget whatever bad day you were having. But what caught my attention wasn't her beauty. It was her laugh. You know those rare people whose laughter fills an entire room? That was Emily. She was studying elementary education, and I was pursuing finance. Our first conversation happened completely by accident. She spilled coffee all over my notes inside the university library. I still remember her panicking. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Meanwhile, I was just staring at her. Because I thought she was the prettiest girl I'd ever seen. 3 days later, I asked her out. And somehow, unbelievably, she said yes. Neither of us came from wealthy families. We survived college together. Late-night study sessions. Cheap pizza. Part-time jobs. Countless ramen noodles. Dreaming about the future. Dreaming about a little house. Dreaming about children. Dreaming about growing old together. Life wasn't easy. Emily's parents wanted her to marry someone with money. My family worried we were too young. We broke up twice because of stress. Got back together twice because we couldn't stay apart. And after nearly 7 years together, we finally convinced everyone. I was 29. Emily was 26. And on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in Charleston, South Carolina, surrounded by family and friends, we became husband and wife. Looking back now, I still believe she loved me then. Maybe not forever. But she loved me. And for a while, that was enough. 16 months later, God gave us the greatest surprise of our lives. Twin girls. Sophia and Lily. They arrived 8 weeks early and scared us half to death. Those tiny girls spent almost 3 weeks in the NICU. I remember sitting beside their incubators every single day, praying. I had never been so terrified. Or so happy. The first time I held Sophia, I cried. The first time I held Lily, I cried again. And Emily cried watching me. Those girls changed everything. Suddenly, nothing else mattered. Not promotions. Not cars. Not money. Just family. For several years, life was beautiful. Exhausting. But beautiful. We bought a modest home outside Atlanta, Georgia. Emily stayed home with the girls while working occasional freelance projects. And I worked hard. Very hard. Eventually, at 34 years old, I landed what I believed was the opportunity of a lifetime. A position with First Southern Bank in Atlanta. The pay was better. The benefits were amazing. And most importantly, it meant a better future for our daughters. That's where I met Richard Collins. Richard was 50 years old. Senior Vice President. Charismatic. Successful. Everyone liked him. He had expensive watches. Expensive suits. And an easy confidence that naturally drew people toward him. He became my mentor. At first, I admired him. He treated me like a son. Invited me to lunch. Gave me career advice. Defended me during meetings. Helped me earn promotions. And eventually, he became a friend. Or at least I thought he had. Emily liked him too. Actually, everyone did. Richard had a way of making people feel important. Soon, he started visiting our home. Barbecues. Football games. Holiday dinners. Birthdays. He bought Sophia and Lily gifts every Christmas. The girls adored him. Looking back now, that's the part that still hurts the most. Because betrayal doesn't arrive wearing a warning sign. It arrives smiling. It sits at your dinner table. It laughs with your children. It shakes your hand. And then one day, without you realizing it, it steals everything. At first, I noticed nothing. Why would I? Richard was my boss. My mentor. My friend. Emily was my wife. The woman I'd loved for over a decade. The mother of my children. I trusted them both completely. And that's what made me blind. Because when you trust someone with your W for nearly 3 years, I never suspected a thing. Not once. That's the truth. People always ask afterward if there were signs. Looking back, sure. There were signs. There are always signs. But the thing about trust is that it makes explanations easy. Emily was spending more time at the gym. I told myself she wanted to get healthy. Richard texted her occasionally. I told myself they were planning surprises for my birthday or asking about gifts for the girls. Sometimes I came home and found them laughing in the kitchen while Sophia and Lily played upstairs. And I thought to myself, how lucky am I? How many men have a boss who treats their family like his own? God, I was stupid. Or maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was just a husband who loved his wife. Because love makes fools out of honest people. The first crack appeared when Sophia was 8 years old. Kids notice things adults miss. One evening, I was helping Lily with homework when Sophia walked into the room. Daddy? Yeah, sweetheart. She hesitated. Why does Mommy smile more when Mr. Collins comes over? I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because I genuinely thought it was a cute question. He makes people laugh, honey. Sophia nodded. But something about her expression bothered me. She wasn't asking like a child. She was observing like an adult. I should have listened. But I didn't. Months passed. Then one Saturday morning, I woke up and Emily was gone. No note. No explanation. Just gone. I called her. Straight to voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Again. Nothing. By noon, panic had turned into terror. Then at 3 o'clock that afternoon, she walked through the front door. And Richard Collins walked in beside her. My boss. My mentor. My friend. The man who had attended every birthday party. Every Christmas. Every Thanksgiving. He stood in my living room with his hand resting on my wife's lower back. And suddenly, everything made sense. Sophia and Lily were upstairs watching cartoons. Thank God. Because no child should ever witness what happened next. Emily wasn't crying. Richard wasn't ashamed. Neither one looked nervous. In fact, they looked relieved. Like they had been carrying a secret and were finally putting it down. Ethan, Emily said softly. We need to talk. Need to talk. The 4 words every husband fears. I remember staring at Richard. My voice barely worked. Get out of my house. He lowered his eyes. Ethan. Get out. But Emily interrupted. No, Richard stays. Those words hurt more than anything. Because suddenly, I wasn't her husband anymore. I was just the obstacle. And he was the priority. The next 2 hours shattered my world. The affair had started almost 2 years earlier. 2 years. 2 years of lies. 2 years of dinners. Vacations. Christmas mornings. Anniversaries. Family photos. All fake. And then Emily said something I'll never forget. I love him. Not, I made a mistake. Not, I'm sorry. I love him. And then she delivered the blow that truly broke me. I'm leaving. I nodded slowly. Fine. Then I looked upstairs. What about the girls? Silence. Emily looked away. Richard looked uncomfortable. And finally, she said words that made me question whether I had ever known her. They'll be better off with you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Sophia and Lily. Our daughters. She started crying. For the first time all day. I can't do this anymore, Ethan. I want a different life. Different life. 8 years old. Our daughters were 8 years old. And their mother wanted a different life. I thought she meant shared custody. Weekends. Something. Anything. But no. Emily wanted freedom. Freedom from responsibility. Freedom from motherhood. Freedom from us. Richard stepped forward. We'll help financially. I almost hit him. God forgive me. I almost did. Instead, I pointed at the door. And I said something I'll never forget. If you walk out today, don't expect to walk back in. Emily cried harder. But she still left. And Richard left with her. 2 suitcases. That's all. 20 years together. Reduced to 2 suitcases. An hour later, Sophia came downstairs. Daddy? I couldn't speak. Where's Mommy? I lied. She's traveling for work. Because I didn't know how to destroy a child's heart. Not yet. But children are smarter than we think. 3 days later, Sophia asked me something that made me cry in the shower for almost an hour. Did Mommy leave because we were bad? God. Nothing in life prepares you for that question. Nothing. I hugged both girls so tightly they started laughing. And through tears, I promised them something. No. No matter what happens. None of this is your fault. And Daddy isn't going anywhere. I made that promise 3 years ago. And I kept it. But I won't lie. Those 3 years nearly killed me. Because being a single father 3 years after Emily walked out. Life had settled into something that looked almost normal. Not easy. Not perfect. But normal. Sophia and Lily were 11 years old now. Old enough to pack their own lunches. Old enough to notice when I was tired. Old enough to hug me without being asked. And somehow, those little girls had become my greatest strength. Every morning before school, Lily would make coffee for me. Terrible coffee. Way too much sugar. But I drank every drop. And Sophia had inherited her mother's love for reading. Except unlike Emily. Sophia had inherited my loyalty. At least, that's what my mother liked to say. By then, I had accepted that Emily was gone. She and Richard Collins had married less than a year after leaving. They moved into a mansion outside Buckhead, one of Atlanta's wealthiest neighborhoods. Through mutual acquaintances, I occasionally heard about their luxurious vacations. Their country club memberships. Their expensive cars. And honestly, I didn't care. Not anymore. Because my world revolved around 2 girls who still called me their hero. And that was enough. Then one Tuesday evening, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. Hello. Mr. Walker. Yes. This is Georgia State Lottery headquarters. I laughed. Honestly laughed. Because I thought it was a scam. I'm sorry, whoever this is, I'm busy. But the woman interrupted. Sir, did you purchase a Powerball ticket at a Chevron station in Marietta last Friday? Suddenly. My heart stopped. Because I had. Sophia had begged me to buy one. Daddy, what if we win? I remembered teasing her. Sweetheart, we have a better chance of Walter learning algebra. And yet. The woman continued. Mr. Walker. You need to come to our office tomorrow morning. I barely slept that night. Neither did the girls. By 8:30 the next morning. Our lives changed forever. $328 million. After taxes. Just under $200 million. I sat there in complete shock. Sophia screamed. Lily cried. And I just stared. Because I had spent 3 years worrying about bills. 3 years surviving. 3 years trying to give my daughters a stable life. And suddenly. Money wasn't a problem anymore. Not for my children. Not ever again. But here's the funny thing. The money wasn't what made me cry. It was the thought that Sophia and Lily would never have to struggle the way I had. That my daughters could chase dreams without fear. That they would always be safe. That's what broke me. For the first time in years. I cried happy tears. News traveled quickly. Too quickly. Within days, reporters were calling. People I hadn't heard from in years suddenly remembered I existed. Distant relatives. Old classmates. Even former co-workers. And then. 2 weeks later. I got a text message. A number I hadn't seen in over 3 years. Emily. Just seeing her name made me freeze. Congratulations, Ethan. That was all. Nothing else. No apology. No mention of the girls. Just congratulations. I ignored it. But 3 days later. Another message arrived. Can we talk? I didn't answer. Then came another. It's important. Still nothing. Finally. My phone rang. And before I could stop myself. I answered. Ethan. I hadn't heard her voice in years. And somehow. It sounded older. Sadder. Emily. She started crying immediately. I miss the girls. Not, I miss you. The girls. Interesting. We've been fine, I answered calmly. Then she said something strange. Richard and I are having problems. Problems. I almost laughed. But I didn't. Because I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. What kind of problems? Silence. Then. He's seeing someone else. God. I nearly dropped the phone. Because suddenly. The universe had become very ironic. Richard Collins. The man she had destroyed our family for. The man she called her soulmate. The man she abandoned her children for. Was cheating on her. With a woman 20 years younger. And apparently. Richard had recently informed Emily that he wanted a divorce. He was leaving. For someone prettier. Someone younger. Someone exciting. Exactly the way Emily had once described Richard to me. The symmetry would have been funny if it wasn't so tragic. Then came the part one wasn't prepared for. Ethan. Her voice broke. I want to come home. Home. The word itself made me uncomfortable. There is no home, Emily. She sobbed. I made a mistake. Please. I miss our daughters. I miss our family. I miss you. But the truth was, the man she had left behind no longer existed. 3 years of pain had changed me. 3 years of single fatherhood had changed me. And $200 million definitely hadn't changed me. But they had shown everyone else's true colors. I didn't answer immediately. Because the decision wasn't mine. And I didn't tell Sophia and Lily immediately. Not because I wanted to protect Emily. That chapter of my life had ended years ago. But because I wanted to protect them. Children don't stop loving their parents just because those parents hurt them. Love doesn't work that way. Especially for kids. So that Sunday evening, after dinner, while Walter slept beside the couch and a Hallmark movie played quietly in the background, I sat down with my daughters. By then, they were 11 years old. And somewhere over the previous 3 years. Without me noticing. They had become young ladies. Sophia, Lily. They looked up from their homework. Your mom called. Silence. Lily immediately lowered her eyes. Sophia's expression changed. Not anger. Not sadness. Just caution. What does she want? Sophia asked. She wants to see you. Another silence. And then Lily asked the question that shattered my heart. Did Richard leave her? I blinked. What? Sophia sighed. Dad, we're not little kids anymore. Apparently, they knew much more than I thought. Kids always do. I nodded. Yes. Neither girl reacted. No excitement. No happiness. No tears. Nothing. And then Sophia quietly asked. Would she still want us if he hadn't left? God. No amount of money in the world can prepare a father for that question. Because deep down, I knew the answer. And maybe they did too. I sat there struggling for words. But Lily answered for me. No. Her voice cracked. If he hadn't cheated on her, she'd still be with him. Then she stood up. I'm going to my room. Sophia followed her. And suddenly, I was sitting alone. Realizing my daughters had grown up far too quickly. 3 days later, Emily came over. The first thing I noticed was how different she looked. Not older. Just smaller somehow. Less confident. Less certain. Life had humbled her. For the first time in over 3 years. She stood on our front porch. The same porch she'd walked away from. Only this time. No Richard Collins. No luxury car. No confidence. Just regret. Sophia opened the door. And froze. Emily burst into tears immediately. Oh my God, look at you. But neither girl moved. Neither hugged her. Neither smiled. Because children remember. Especially abandonment. Emily dropped to her knees. Sophia. Lily. Her voice broke. I'm so sorry. Lily started crying. Not because she missed her mother. Because she had missed her for years. Sophia remained calm. Too calm. And what she said next made Emily collapse. Mom. We needed you. Not now. 3 years ago. Emily sobbed uncontrollably. Sophia wasn't cruel. She wasn't angry. She was honest. And honesty hurts. Lily wiped away tears. Do you know how many dance recitals Daddy came to? Every single one. Do you know who taught me how to braid my hair? Daddy. Who stayed awake when I had nightmares? Daddy. Who cried when I had pneumonia? Daddy. Who never left? Daddy. Emily could barely breathe. Because no punishment hurts like truth. Then Sophia spoke again. We love you. You'll always be our mother. But we don't trust you. And trust, once broken, sometimes never comes back. Emily nodded, crying harder. I understand. And for the first time in years, I felt sorry for her. Not because she deserved another chance. Because regret is one of the loneliest places in the world. Over the next year, Emily slowly rebuilt a relationship with the girls. Not because they forgot, but because children are capable of incredible grace. Birthdays, phone calls, lunches. Slowly, carefully. Trust wasn't restored. But something healthier was built. Honesty. As for Richard Collins, karma had finished with him. The 28-year-old woman he'd left Emily for eventually left him too. Apparently, she'd found someone wealthier. Funny how life works. Richard retired early, sold the mansion, and disappeared from our lives. I haven't spoken to him in years. And I don't hate him. Because hate requires energy. And I prefer spending mine elsewhere. Now here's the part people always ask about. The money. Did $200 million change us? Of course it did. Money changes opportunities. Not character. Sophia and Lily now attend the best schools. My mother retired comfortably. I created scholarships at the University of Georgia. I donated to children's hospitals. And I finally quit the bank. But the greatest thing that happened wasn't the lottery. It happened 18 months later. Her name was Claire Bennett. A pediatric nurse from Savannah. Widowed young. Kind eyes. Terrible jokes. And a heart so gentle it scared me. Because after betrayal, being loved again feels dangerous. But Claire was patient. She never tried to replace anyone. Never pushed. Never forced. She simply showed up. Again. And again. And again. Just like I had shown up for my daughters.